dramatic drain on our budget, on our national gross domestic budget. And so the reality is, when I think about it, while they're sitting in their bureaucracy, much like the political system in this country, they're sitting over, it's going to take them 15 years. And over the last 15 years, we have put ourselves in position for this moment where the dominant way people think about themselves is, how do I join Optavia and focus on creating optimal well-being for myself, my family, my friends, and my community. So I'd love to bring on now an amazing panel of doctors that are just ambassadors of Quantum. Dr. J.C. Dornick. Dr. D. Garcia. Dr. Mark Nelson. Dr. Geraldine Crossfield. And last but not least, Dr. Joe Picarelli. Let's go to work. What do you think, JC?
Well, first of all, I've never been so close to you on this panel before. I feel honored.
Moving on up.
It's a bit of an upgrade. Speaking of upgrades, first I want to say that you're looking at a version of me that is far, far from what it used to be. And I know a lot of you come up to me and comment on that. I know that right after this I'm going to get all those notes, and somebody's going to come up to me shaking, thinking they couldn't talk to me, and they said, "Well, you're a real person." I've done a lot of work on myself. Because what a lot of people don't know is I come from a place of struggle, like a lot of you. Fear, anxiety, depression. And that filtered into my practice, into my family. And that was a rough time. And if I could go back 9 years ago and have the opportunity, I'd probably have a lot of I'm sorry's to give out. Probably have a lot of those to give out to you folks too. But I also know it wasn't my fault. And what you're seeing here is a transformation in the process. I'm in the process of transforming my life, and you've been watching it for 8 years. This is I think my 8th time on this panel that I get to come in and check in on you folks. And it's like, we'll call it JC 8.0. But if I went back and I said sorry to those people, I'd be saying sorry also to my patients, because I didn't give them what they want. Now I know I couldn't give them what they want. They just wanted to be healthy, right? They didn't want me to just tell them what was wrong and then treat that, because it was within the realm of what I was allowed to do. Right? And I wasn't leading by example either. But I am a health professional, but I'm also a person, right? I'm also a patient. And the biggest I'm sorry's that I would give is to my family. I had a broken marriage because of the way I was living. And I have 2 kids that, while I was a workaholic, I missed it all. I can't get those moments back. I can't go back and be there when one of my kids first walked or said something. I wish I could go back, but at the same time, as I sit here now, it was a blessing. I could blame the old JC for all of my problems that I had, but I'm also going to blame the old JC and that old life for why I am who I am today. Because who I am today. Do you know why I care so much? It's because of all that. Because I know what it's like to go from the dark to the light. And I know what it's like to be helped. Why do I care and share? Because I know the value of having someone care and share with me. And I'm sitting up here. What an amazing opportunity I have to check in with you folks every year, with these people. And this man, you guys are my functional family. I've got a very dysfunctional family. This is my functional family, and I don't want to, place his age the wrong way, but I kind of look at him as a father as well.
Except for when you're skiing.
But I mean that. I mean that. In our new world as health professionals, there's no boundaries and there's no rules. All of a sudden now, as health professionals, we can actually meet people where they're at and ask them what they want. And not tell them what they should want and what's wrong with them and just treat that because that's all we get paid for. We can actually say, yeah, but what's really going on in your life? And then they can be in this environment and have that full circle transformation. And all they need is to be ready. That's all they need. So my question to this audience is, are you ready? Hold on a second. I'm all fired up here. You know, I need a little bit more of that. Are you guys ready for this? So, in closing, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you, thank you to the heavens above, because Take Shape for Life saved my life. And then now we have this new way. And I just feel so lucky and so proud of us. Because what we're going to do is we are going to invite people, those needing people, those suffering people, into this world and partner with them for the first time as health professionals. That's the Optavia way. And invite people into a world where they can actually thrive and transform their entire life. And the only place that they can do that is right here, with us. And the last thing I'll say is something amazing is happening, folks. Open your eyes and wake up. You're all part of it. We're going to do it together.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Awesome. Dr. Delia Garcia.
Hi, my name is Dr. Delia Garcia, and my background is that of oncology. So for 27 years, I had a thriving breast cancer practice, and I loved every minute of it. I can't imagine having picked a better profession for myself. But as time went on, I started to see younger and younger women in my practice, women who were in their 40s and 30s and 20s. And I took a step back. Why were these young women flocking to my practice in droves? And if you look at cancer, the causes of cancer, they're multifactorial. But specifically for breast cancer, women who suffer with excess weight have higher circulating estrogen levels. We call that estrogen dominance, and that is a huge precursor for breast cancer. So by helping women get to a healthy weight, we can vastly reduce their risk of that particular breast cancer. And so I started to offer advice about diet and lifestyle, but I didn't have a tool to help patients achieve a healthy weight until I was introduced to Take Shape for Life. And I think that many of us who are health professionals come to that crossroads in our life where we realize that the prescription pad and the respective therapies that we have depending on our specialty. My therapies were surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. That those things have nothing to do with creating health, because by that time, we're working too far downstream. So Take Shape for Life gave me a wonderful tool to begin working further upstream. And the physical transformations that I saw in my patients by using this program go without saying. Many of you in the audience have experienced those physical transformations. But what I wasn't prepared for were the mental transformations. As women became healthier, their self-esteem improved. They were more joyful. Their relationships improved. They started showing up differently in their marriages, and so their husbands started to pay attention to them again. And so I began to look at my own life. I had a lot of dysfunction in my life. I was in a career that I absolutely loved. However, I was working long hours. I wasn't spending enough time with my children. I didn't have a lot of friends. My relationships outside of the office were not that great. And so in 2011, I decided to jump off the cliff. And I closed a huge chapter. I left mainstream medicine to reinvent myself as a full-time health coach. And at the time I left medicine, I was making a very big income in my medical practice, and my income with Take Shape for Life was not very big. But I trusted the system, and I knew that if I had the time, that I would make this work. Because when I set my mind to something, I get it. And so I made it work. And so now I don't even recognize the person that I once was. I wake up every day filled with gratitude, with passion and purpose, excited to help the people that are put in my life. I have joy, I have balance, I exercise every day, I have so many friends, I have healthy relationships. I love my new life, and I'm so grateful to all of the people that came before me to make this possible, for not only myself, but for each and every one of you. And I'm so grateful to each one of you for being a partner with us on this mission. I am honored to be a part of this mission. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you. Dr. Mark Nelson.
Hi. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and I pause because I've thought a lot about what I want to say in these few minutes. I'm a recovering cardiologist. I watched a video on YouTube and heard Doug Woods say that last year as I was getting up to the stage. Thanks, Doug. So that's really unique because it allows me to look at where I came from and where I'm going. And the most important thing I want to say is this in one sentence, that you don't need to be a doctor or healthcare professional to transform people's health and lives. You don't need that. In fact, that model is a failed model. Our sick care system, in my opinion, is presiding over the greatest decline of health in a country that the world has ever seen. Only 4 billion prescriptions written a year in America. That's 13 for every man, woman, and child, in spite of the fact that our technology and production of drugs continues to grow. And side effects, by the way, are not side effects. They're effects. They're effects, right? We don't want to see them or talk about them, so they're in small print. But they aren't side effects. They are effects. And what's interesting, you look at the CDC, leading causes of death in America, as you know, first is cardiovascular disease, second is cancer, third is accidents, third is actually the sick care system, 200 to 400,000 deaths per year. Think about that. And George Orwell talked about the memory hole. George Orwell, the truth ministry. Well, the sick care system is a truth ministry and memory holes, where we really don't talk about what's real. What's real is that the health of America is declining, as Dr. Anderson has shared with us. Our lifespan actually is. In the first 9 months of 2015, the lifespan of Americans was shorter than in 2014. And that was due to diseases related to overweight and obesity. And that was predicted in the 1970s when the obesity epidemic started to rise. So if you think our survival as a species is guaranteed, I'm here to tell you that it's not. The sick care system is sick. It propagates disease, it supports disease. And I'm not going to get into all that except to say that the very concept of chronic disease is a completely artificial construct. Why do diseases become chronic? Because we don't deal with the real causes. That's why. And if there's some health professionals in the audience and I'm unsettling you a little bit, good. We need to take a cold-blooded look at what's real. 95% of heart disease is preventable and most of it is reversible. At least 50% of cancer deaths are preventable. 90% of type 2 diabetes, the leading cause of diabetes and prediabetes, are preventable and reversible. Did you know that diabetic retinopathy, you know the leading cause of blindness in America is diabetes? Diabetic retinopathy is reversible. Diabetic neuropathy is reversible. Do you know the leading cause of kidney failure and dialysis in America is diabetes? The leading cause of amputations is diabetes. And diabetes is, in essence, a disease of lifestyle. And while the sick care system wants to claim diseases so they can take control over them away from you and patients, by saying obesity is a disease, I challenge that. Obesity is not a disease. It's a way of life. So enough about that. You've been given a gift. And years ago I said you had a diamond in your hand. And now it's a much more powerful diamond than you've ever had, because that diamond is the understanding that you can have conversations with people about the infection in their brain. The infection is that they believe they're powerless, there's complacency, that they don't know what to do, that they're confused, that their doctor said this or that, and you can say to them, you know what? There's a new world. It's called the new world of health, learning new choices and new habits. So you can be the best you can be as an organism and as a human being. To do that, we need to be authentic. And I just want to talk about that, because that is terribly important. Being authentic means it's really what Helen was saying and Dr. Anderson was saying. The brand doesn't build itself. You build the brand. Each and every one of you builds the brand. The brand is not a logo or a slogan. The brand is how we design our lives. Do you know that you can lengthen your life by habits of health, which lengthens the telomeres on your chromosomes? You can also shorten those telomeres and shorten your life by the choices you make each and every day. Do you know that prostate cancer is reversible? You can turn on genes and turn off genes by the way we live. So the opportunities to create health for people are growing and expanding every moment of every day. And by being authentic, what I mean is, I hope that each and every one of you engages with what we are doing fully, with your hearts, with your bodies, with your minds, so you make the decision that you can represent a new way to think, a new way to live, and a path that empowers people to allow their bodies to do something that they actually do really well when they're allowed to, and that's called heal. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Carolyn Bosfield.
I'm excited to be here. I'm an OBGYN by training and a diplomat with the Board of Obesity Medicine, and I direct our Wellness Institute at the hospital where I work. For 9 years in my private practice, I poured out my heart and told people exactly what to do to get healthy. I told them how to lose weight, how to lower their cholesterol, and spent hours personalizing programs with them. And in that first 9 years in my practice, I had 3 patients make a significant change in their health. And at the end of that 9 years, I counted that up and I thought, oh my gosh, this is not okay. In fact, I felt such a level of personal failure and despair that I really questioned whether I ought to be a doctor. I thought 3 in 9 years is despicable. And I was certainly a stress case, full of a lot of anxiety and stress at that point myself. And I thought, what am I going to do? Nothing that I'm doing is making a difference in these people's lives. And an angel walked in my office. It was Take Shape for Life in the form of a body named Philip. And so he shared with me, and I became a health coach. And within 30 days, I had 21 people whose results were blowing my mind. I thought, holy cow, I've got to take these people off of medication. I had hope again, actually, a little spark started. And those 21 people stayed on program. 6 months later, a person who's sitting in this audience, 6 years later, having sustained their weight at an optimal level and improved their health, that person had walked into my office as one of my first patients on Take Shape for Life, and I said, I have to ask you to do something with me. I'm afraid you're not going to come back at the end of the summer. Her C-reactive protein, which is a marker for inflammation, was 18, which is a level that you start searching for cancer or a terrible autoimmune disorder at those levels. And there wasn't any cancer or autoimmune disorder. It was heart disease brewing and inflammation. So 6 months later, that CRP was normal. She was at normal weight. She's here today. And the rest of our group in that first 6 months are still living healthy today. And in fact, now those 21 people have become thousands. So, yeah. So I was all in. You know, I was like, okay, this works, right? And so I asked my husband, Robert, to join me as a health coach because I could only coach a certain number of people. And we started reaching out and building a team. Well, in the perfect way that God and the universe works, I was being prepared for something. My hospital had a position come open that I was able to take to become the director of wellness. And in that position, I was given the opportunity to build from scratch what I wanted to build. And so I built our Wellness Institute on the principles that I've learned in Take Shape for Life, that we walk the talk, that we build relationship, and that we ask people what they want most for themselves. Now, it's a little different in a Western medical hospital to be doing that. But here's what I want you to know. I knew when I started that program that the leading corporate studies say that there is no return on investment for a lifestyle program in a corporate wellness world. They say there's only return on investment to the bottom line if you do disease management. Make sure people take their asthma inhaler. Make sure they take their diabetic medication. Go to the doctor. And I set out to prove something different. So I haven't even told you this, Dr. A. So this last week, I get the results of this past 2 years, our cumulative data in our hospital. And we have not only reduced, the people that have worked with us have reduced, there's a dove of peace.
I know. You cannot, you can't make that up. Go ahead.
Make that up.
You can't make that up.
No, so here's the message from that dove.
Okay.
We actually, 40% of our employees have reduced their blood pressure, their cholesterol, their body mass index, their body fat, or their blood sugar. Yeah. Thank you, Take Shape for Life. And in that process, here's the bottom line. For the first time, our hospital has decreased its health claims. And I'm shaken because I'm getting more nervous as I tell you this. The other thing though, and this is the thing I'm most proud of, for 4 quarters, we've had 0 stress claims in our employees at my hospital. And what I have to tell you is because we have health coaches out there looking in people's eyes saying, what's going on with you? What matters to you? What's most important to you? And it doesn't matter if that coach thinks that it's that they need to lose 100 pounds. If the employee says, I've got 3 jobs and I'm stressed to the max, that's where we start. So all I can say is every choice you make makes a difference. Dr. A made a choice, I made a choice. Me choosing to walk up the stairs instead of the elevator, choosing to order a healthy meal, choosing to bring a dream to fruition makes a difference. It gives permission for the people around you to change their lives. So I am just so excited to be with all of you on this mission, and let's go get the world healthy.
Thank you, Dr. So, Joe, we don't have a lot of time left. I know you have something powerful to say, and good luck.
I see that the clock is down to 0, so I'm going to have to estimate 5 minutes here. But I want to start really with gratitude, because I am grateful for all of you, who you are and what you represent. I'm grateful for Dan and Dr. A, and the women behind them, Mary and Lori, really have played a huge part that a lot of people minimize. And I really want to thank God for giving Dr. A this vision and for him having the wisdom to act upon it. And when we look at Take Shape for Life and who we are and where we're going, and, we always have to start with why. And there is a lot of science behind what we do, and the science is spot on. And the business plan, for those of you who are willing to work it, recognize that it's unsurpassable. But really, if we start with the why, and you heard even Mona, it all starts in the heart. And just like as a vascular surgeon, if there's no blood and there's nothing carrying oxygen, then it dies. And you can see that that's not happening here. Instead, we're going the other direction. And when I heard Dr. A say last night that a business that is profit-driven is not as profitable as a business that's purpose-driven, I realized that a business like ours that's purpose-driven provides purpose and profit, but a business that's profit-driven gets neither. So the point of education, I read the other day, is not to fill buckets really, but to ignite sparks. And isn't that what we should be doing, is igniting the sparks in other people, in their lives, and showing them what it is that we're all about and what they're capable of. And someone texted me and said, about an hour ago, said, that was a great example of of Take Shape for Life to Optavia. And I was thinking, it's not Take Shape for Life to Optavia, it's Take Shape for Life into Optavia. Because just as the butterfly comes from the caterpillar, and when you look at the caterpillar, you have no idea that there's a butterfly in there. But it's all there. And we've always been on the optimal path. So it's not that we're really becoming anything different, we're just becoming more of who we are. And so, as often I do, I'll end with a quote. This is one of my favorite quotes. And it's that every great achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits at the egg. And in the highest vision of a soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of reality. So let's live our dreams and let's go spread a lot of seeds and help make this a reality for a lot of people.
Great job, Jerry. Ladies and gentlemen, the new health professional.